Hello and welcome to season 9 of Cut Through the Noise. Cut Through the Noise is the podcast that helps you increase your sales through elevated communications and marketing. I'm your host, Aisling O'Rourke, founder of The Communications Coach, based here in the Republic of Ireland. And I work with business leaders who want to communicate with clarity, confidence, and authenticity. And you are very welcome to today's episode of the podcast. Now, as I'm always saying, we live in a noisy world where it is becoming more and more challenging to reach your target audience. And one of the things that I love about my work is that I help to get business leaders quite literally cut through the noise and reach your target market without the need for expensive agencies. It's just so important that we leverage this opportunity that we have to really connect with our target audience, particularly on social media, which is why I've decided to focus this entire series of Cut Through the Noise on social media marketing. One of the questions I frequently get asked by clients is, how do I really connect with my audience online? And the thing is, it's not rocket science. Connecting with an online audience, it's the same as connecting with a person right in front of you. Share your personality, be yourself, and be authentic. But when you're trying to market a business, it can be hard to know how much personality is too much and how much personal life is a little bit too much information. And that's why today I've invited Deirdre O'Sullivan and Jeanette O'Rourke of Kay's Flower School to cut through the noise. I hope you enjoy our chat. These two sisters are amazing on social media and they really do know how to navigate that boundary of promoting their business, sharing their personality without delving too much into their private lives. Stay tuned. Now, first things first, girls. Deirdre, there is an O'Rourke in the surname, but to the best of our knowledge, we're not related.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Our O'Rourke's they mainly came from Wexford, but Cavan would be the original. But so yeah, no, I don't think so. But we meet so many O'Rourke's.
Just for transparency's sakes, like we just so you don't think I'm just getting my family members on the podcast. So, of course, we do have Deirdre O'Sullivan and Jeanette O'Rourke of Kay's Flower School. Now, Kay's Flower School in recent years, girls, you've gone global. And here on the podcast, we like to help business leaders with their communications and marketing. And in this season 9 of the podcast, we're focusing in on social media and really focusing in on encouraging people to put themselves out there because there's so much fear around it, particularly, I think, from Irish business women and our hang-ups that we have about putting ourselves out there online and showing our faces online. So, Jeanette, do you want to get me started a little bit? For people who are not familiar with the Flower School, what is Kay's Flower School?
Okay, I suppose first of all, we're not actually a flower shop and we don't sell flowers because a lot of people contact us about ordering flowers. So we're a flower school and we train florists. And the amount of questions I get, like people say, oh, you can actually do that or you have to be trained. And I say, yes, it's like any career at all. So back in 1987, we actually found that there was a niche there was a market. There was absolutely nowhere in Ireland to train to be a florist. At that time, you had to go to the UK. And it was during a recession here in Ireland. And we said, let's start off something very small. Let's try and make floristry a little bit more open to the general public, not necessarily people that are connected to floristry through a family member. And that's the reason, or that was why Kay's Flower School was started off, was to make floristry training a little bit more accessible to the general public and people who enjoyed flowers. And then from then, it just blossomed and bloomed.
It is amazing to think that from like that one idea that the business has made a career for you guys and is giving you national and international prominence. Now, it's one thing, setting up shop and running the school in a physical premises. But then the internet comes along, then social media comes along, and you have to market yourselves because at the end of the day, you need more and more people wanting to learn to become a florist. So how did you approach that, Deirdre?
I suppose it's funny actually because myself and Jeanette were only talking yesterday and we were saying, I think we spend more time marketing than we do teaching. Like it's such a huge part of our business is the marketing part. I suppose back in sort of like the late 90s, no, probably the 2019, 2018, when social media really started to come, we were doing a little bit. And every so often, and what we found was we would put up photographs of our students. So at that stage, we were doing classroom-based courses, and we put up photographs of our students' designs that they had made, their flower arrangements, everything they made, and we got likes and clicks and whatever. And one day, one of the students, she was a gorgeous girl. She was always laughing. And she's like, oh, put a photograph of me. And I put a photograph of her with the flowers. And it literally nearly went viral. Now, this is going back before we even knew what viral was a word.
Hey.
So I said to Jeanette, you know what? I says, when we put their faces in, we're actually getting much more interaction than just the beautiful flowers. So we sort of started to see them, and then we start putting our own faces up. Well, it was mostly Jeanette because I'm normally the one behind the camera. And then gradually then I suppose a little bit more confident, and we started to talk on camera and started to do recorded videos, then live videos. And it's, you know, for us, it's the only way we can market.
I suppose at the end of the day, people do definitely want to see behind the scenes. They want to see what we're like. And without actually getting too personal, they do want to see a little bit about our personal life, whether it's our parents, which obviously my mum started off K's Flower School with me back in 78, and we called her Mrs. K. And my dad is involved from a cleaning point of view, and we call him Mr. K. But when we put up the videos of them, you know, involved, like dad sweeping the floor, like again, like the clicks, the interaction, the reach on them videos and them photographs is just amazing. And even a video of me sweeping the floor or down on my hands and knees scrubbing buckets or emptying boxes of flowers, people love to see that. And even if I'm to post photographs of maybe what we're doing, like last night we were at a carnival, and like, you know, to post a photograph of us on a carnival, and again, like people like to see a little bit about our personal life and what we're like not just from a professional level. And that's what we have found has worked.
And I think, you know, because with the advent of social media, and obviously it has had, you know, major disadvantages, and it has been, you know, there will always be people who will use it in a negative way. But it has had such a powerful democratization of media. Now we can all market ourselves. We don't necessarily need to have that, you know, thousands and thousands of euro PR agency working on our behalf.
No.
But I think it's what you guys have done. And the reason that I wanted the two of you on the podcast to talk about it was because you share so much of yourselves, and you have that connection. Like, I know you guys from going to business events. I don't really know you, but I feel I do from your social media presence. And that connection, it just, it's gold dust in marketing terms.
And I don't think it can be, no article in a magazine or a newspaper can portray that real, authentic self. And like, I know back, like it has been said, oh, like that's not really them, they're putting it off the camera. And we're like, no, actually, you know, we're probably very boring people.
Yeah. Sometimes I read the comments and people are saying, oh, you're hilarious, you're this, you're that, you're great crack. And I'm saying, two of us are in bed at 10:20 every night, you know, that way. Like maybe we're actually quite boring, but what you see
is what you
get.
And like we enjoy the crack and we enjoy the fun, and that's sort of, I suppose, that's who we are. And if you're into something, if you want to learn floristry in a very serious, particular way, we're not the flower school for you, because we don't, we that's not what we do, you know.
I always say, like, I have a very informal way of teaching, but I can guarantee we'll get the message across. And that would also be some of the feedback that we'd get back from the students on completion of their training, and say, oh my God, Jeanette, you're so easy to understand. You get the message across. I wish I had you back in school, like when I was, you know, in primary or in secondary school. I do have a very informal way, down to earth way of teaching. And like, I don't believe in, even though I do provide notes and handouts, I actually say to the students, no, listen to the video, take notes while I'm actually teaching you. And that's how you'll actually remember. And it definitely works.
It does work.
I also have my own language, and I know you are a communications coach, but like some of the sayings and
Well, like, look,
the words that I use.
the Dubs, I have to give it to Dubs because you have a great vocabulary and a very unique vocabulary. I think it's fair to say. But like on that, like lack of formality, and I think that's a very fair point. Like one of the wonderful things about using social media as a marketing tool is actually, if you do share a bit about yourself and your personality, and like the fact that, you know, you are a family business. Yes, your sisters, it was, you know, your mum created it to begin with. It's very much a family enterprise. Like there's, okay, strategically, that's great for marketing purposes because we love to know who we're paying money to. We like to know that we're not, you know, well, nowadays particularly, some corporate, you know, invisible
Yeah.
giant in the background. But also it's that like you know what you're buying straight away. And like, you know, if your personality, if it doesn't click with you and your videos, then it's probably not going to click with you on a course.
It's not the case. Yeah,
There's
yeah,
that
you're
extra
so
level
right.
of like transparency as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like for social, particularly again for us for social media, for us being able to share like our past students, like their achievements, their awards, their businesses, it's sort of, it's like an advocate for us. It's like social proof for us that we actually do what we say, as in we train florists, and these are florists that we train. And like again, you hear so many advice about using social media, and they say, oh, don't keep sharing other people and don't keep doing this. And to be honest, we find sometimes I think we're the accidental success of social media because we didn't follow any strategies and things that they said, do this, do that, do the other. We just went with the flow. If somebody we saw something and it was a really good thing that they did, well, we'd share it, or we, you know, and even businesses that are similar to ours, we share them because we don't gatekeep. We really don't gatekeep, and we try as much as we can to help other businesses, and particularly, I suppose, the floristry industry is mainly women. There is men, and we have had men done really well in the flower industry that have come through Case Flower School. But like seeing women starting their own businesses, earning their own income, becoming independent, working around their lifestyle, it's just such an achievement. And to be able to share that out on our social media and give them a chance of growth is really, it's key to success. And I think it's something people need to be very don't be overthinking your business. So just because you are a jewelry maker doesn't mean you can't share other jewelry makers, because people will go to you for your personality or your style, or, you know, I think just don't think about it too hard.
Yeah, I think like sometimes there is that, oh no, I need to like row my own canoe here. And you can forget actually that by supporting other people, you're opening up what you do to a whole other group of people. And it's that cross marketing, you know?
Like the amount of people who do remark or, you know, send me a message and say, oh my God, I can't believe the support you give me on my page. You always like, or you always comment. And I do, like, I set aside a certain amount of time every day. And like, yeah, I love people to interact with our pages, but by God, do I interact with other people's pages. And again, we can't train everybody in the world as much as we would love to, you know, that way. It's impossible, you know. And I just say that to the florists as well. You cannot supply every customer in Dublin with a bouquet of flowers, or you can't do every bride in Ireland or the UK with her wedding flowers. There's enough business for everybody. So kind of like being, you know, which I think in some people have this mentality of, you know, don't tell anybody anything, keep everything to themselves. And there's a certain amount of jealousy and begrudgery. That's what I would call
business, not just in
no,
flowers.
not
I
just
think
in floristry, in business, where we actually think the opposite works. You know, and if like, even if it wasn't a follower or as a student of mine, and she messaged me and asked me a question or advice, I would actually help her out. You know, that way, like, what does it take? 5 minutes of a WhatsApp or 10 minutes of a WhatsApp back and forward or whatever, and help that person out, you know, that way. Like, at the end of the day, she's not going to take loads of business from me. And more than likely, she'll go on her social media and say, fair play to Jeanette from Case Flower School, had a question, help me out, blah, blah, blah. And all her customers and clients will see that. And that's what works.
And I think that's a really fair point. And also, I think for people starting out in business, don't be afraid to ask for help. I think that's the biggest fear when especially actually if you're going to networking events and you go into this room of women or, a mixed crowd or whatever it might be, they can be really intimidating when you're new and you can be very afraid to, well, I'm supposed to be the expert. If I'm calling myself a business person now, I must, know everything. And there's that fear of asking for help. But actually, and at least in my experience, the business community is the most supportive community I've come across in my life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like we're in a couple of networking groups and I have to say they're the best. I don't know whether we're allowed to name them, but they're the best groups ever. That way.
We know, we've met Aisling through Leo, through the local enterprise office, and we're Network Ireland as well. We're Network Dublin. I suppose you're probably Network Offaly. Did Offaly have a network?
I'm in the PSA. Offaly does not yet have one, but we could work on that one. I'm in the Professional Speaking Association of Ireland and the UK. We all have, the groups that we have investigated and then decided they're for us. Or let's be honest about it. Exactly. You can't go to every single network, as lovely as they all are. There's only so many hours in the day. Yeah. But back to that and the time management of it, there is, I think, a fear from people. Well, look, do you know what? If I have to hire a PR firm, that's an awful lot of money. So I'm just not going to do that. But I'm also not a qualified photographer or a qualified videographer. Talk us about, your approach to it, because you've made it so informal. It makes it more accessible, I think, for people.
Yeah. I suppose one of the things we very much is done is better than perfect. It doesn't have to be. We don't have to be a photographer. We don't. And I actually think people appreciate the less professional images. And a bit like, as Jeanette says, sometimes the rubbish on the floor or Jeanette tying up the bin would probably get more traction than her making the most fabulous arrangement. So really, my thing is everything is content. So whether you're a florist, whether you're a hairdresser, sweeping up the hairs off the floor is content to post it up, and it shows that you do actually clean up after yourself, or that you're busy, or people say to us, oh, you post all the time. We bulk our content when we're creating content, and we have created behind the scenes videos of this, of literally Jeanette changing her jumper 10 times for 10 pieces of content of the same piece of content. So it could be talking about a rose, and she'll talk about that rose 10 times with 10 different outfits on.
I just keep changing my top, that way. Fluff up the hair again. Okay. And I'll do a similar video, how to treat and condition that rose. And then I whip off the top, put on a brand new one, that way, same pair of jeans, whatever. And again, I'll do another one. And then I'll move on to another flower. We could do maybe 50 or 60
videos in a
short little, like less than 60-second videos in a very short time.
The trick then is saving that content. So on my phone, now I do have a big memory phone, as in I have a lot of memory on my phone. But everything is an album. So I have albums on roses. I have albums on lilies, on whatever, it could be an ad for module 1, it could be an ad for module 2, it could be a Christmas ad. We actually we were dressed up the other night for our award ceremony, and we videoed the content for next year awards while we were dressed up in all our finery. We've also videoed Christmas content.
Because they're all wearing glitters. Yeah. We said, right, let's do the Christmas advertisement videos. But tell her one of the big things that we have learned about dates and not.
Oh, yeah. So again, when we started, really putting our focus in, because obviously we're online, and it's trying to, again, get the social proof across that this is what we do. So we'd do up ads, or we'd do up something, and we say, and this course is going to start on the 1st of September, and this is going to start. And then we started to realize we're dating all our content, and we couldn't use it again. Yeah. So now, and even our videos, our tutorials, everything we do, we have stopped dating everything. So something is starting soon, or it's coming up soon, is what we're using, rather than dating it. And even our tutorials, we re-recorded our module 1, because that was the very first online course that we recorded, and we recorded it during COVID. So we talked about having no nails, and we talked about our roots in our hair, and we talked about masks. I'm completely dated. So that was one course we had to. So one piece of advice I would definitely give is insofar as possible, try not date your content. You know, don't. We're going to be recording pumpkin arrangements soon for Halloween, and we won't be talking about what year it is.
Yeah, like it's and that's a really valuable tip. Like I batch record as well myself. Like today is my recording day. I've got yourselves lined up. I've other interviews lined up, other recordings I'll do for myself, and like that, changing the outfit, fluffing up the hair, whatever it might
Yeah.
be. But that makes it doable. It means then, you know, for that day in the month or that hour in the calendar, whatever it might be, that it's blocked off time. Because I think sometimes
Yes.
there is that, you know, if you're not used to doing video content particularly, and especially if you're anxious about it and you're not comfortable in front of the camera. Now, look, there are some people on the planet that love being in front of the camera, and they're the rare people in the world. But most people, it takes a couple of goes before you get comfortable doing it. And as a result, you
Yeah.
procrastinate about it a little bit, and then you put it off and you put it off. Whereas actually, if it's blocked into your calendar as, okay, this is what I do on a Friday afternoon, this is what I do on the first Monday of the month, whatever it might be, it does make life so much easier. And it means that acting yourself to account.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, I suppose people are worried about what they look like on camera. So if you block that time in, you can make sure you have your hair done, you have your makeup done, and you look how you want to look, and then just have a wardrobe of clothes there.
Yeah.
Cheap tops.
Cheap tops, yeah. You know, like t-shirts, like a black, a green, a red, an orange t-shirt doesn't make any difference. We actually invested in a couple of years ago roller blinds that literally in all different colors, and they roll down to the floor behind us, and then they pop back up into the ceiling, so they're not taking up any space. And we bring down a green one, we record, it goes back up. We bring down a pink one, and it's, I have to say, it was such a cheap investment, but so effective. You know,
Because again, we would find originally we used to we have a uniform for work, and we used to do a lot of the recording and me wearing the uniform. But then we found what happened was that when people would see a video coming up and I'm wearing the black apron, they would assume, oh, I've watched that before. So I have found by going to Dunn's, okay, buying 6 cheap t-shirts in 6 different colors and then using them on a day for recording that day. It makes all the videos look different, and people say, oh, she's a pink top on, there's a blue top on, there's a black top on, a white top on, and it makes them all look completely different. That definitely works.
It definitely works for us, yeah.
And the other thing is, as part of our training with our students, at the end of every course, we introduce social media, and we bring in experts to teach the students about social media. But at the end of every course, we ask them to do a testimonial video, and we teach them, and we say, like, stand in front of a window, you know, stand in front of your kitchen window, hold your phone in that direction, not that direction, hold it upwards so that you're looking up, you know, rather than looking down, and you get the double chin. Smile at the beginning and smile at the end. Like, just them couple of little tips make such a difference. And I say, on your kitchen window, stick like 5, you know, bullet points of what you want to speak about, because we asked them to do it like in less than 60 seconds, because we find they're the videos that works for us. I don't want to listen to somebody rattling on about something for 5-10 minutes. You know, that way everybody wants everything quick, to the point, and fast. So
yeah,
this is it. And it's mad, like, you know what I mean? They come back to us and say, oh God, Jeanette, that took 20 goes, 50 goes, whatever. But when it comes to the second module, they're flying. And now we look at them all, like our past students, and they're all flying on Instagram, doing lives, doing chats. And again, you can see the camera up in the air, smile at the beginning, smile at the end. And like, don't stand with the window behind your back. The window should be in front of your face.
And look, and it's all about building a new habit. And they are some amazing tips. But in a new edition to Cut Through the Noise, we're going to have some special bonus tips just for those of you watching the podcast on our YouTube channel. For you, having done this, and this has been in the family now since 1987. We're in a new a new century. You know, we're in the middle way through a new decade. What has been like the most vital marketing tip that you could share with people today?
Yeah, I suppose just be yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm one of these, and I often, there I go. See the way that blubber, okay? Like, I would be, you know, doing a video and then go, and that's a habit I have. I go to say a word. I'm going to blame it on the menopause, okay? And the word will not come out, and I go, and then I get the word out. And we put up them videos, you know, that way. And people laugh at it, you know what I mean? They maybe behind the scenes, they say, where's she going with her? But I make lots of cock-ups and lots of bloopers. And we put up these blooper videos. Like I did one there the other day. And I took up this grass, which is actually called lily grass. But I started off the video, and here we have bear grass, and I'm talking about the bear grass. And then I say, this isn't bear grass. This is lily grass. And I'm looking at myself, you know, that way. And I put up that video, and you want to see the amount of interaction. That's lily grass. That's not bear grass. And all the people correcting me. And here I am, yet listen to the end.
Yeah.
But that's all I want. Whether it's good interaction or bad interaction, interaction is interaction. So be yourself on social media. Don't go and try and edit that video or go and redo it again. No, I did redo it again, but I did put up the blooper ones.
That is really, really good advice for people, because I think we get so frightened of ourselves and how we appear, and we try to be so professional on camera in particular, because, you know, your video has a lifespan. So, okay, so be yourself, be natural, be authentic. Deirdre, what about you? What has been the most successful thing that you've tried for Marketing Case Flower School?
I definitely think short videos. So what I'm definitely seeing at the moment, particularly on Instagram, is shorter videos. So if you do record, I'm just trying to think of maybe like a hairdresser or a jewelry maker and obviously a florist, and you record yourself maybe making something, fast forward it, like speed it up to bring it down to the 7 seconds. Look at the trending audio. I don't always look at trending audio, because sometimes I use one and then realize they're cursing halfway through because I haven't listened to the whole piece of music. So I usually try and just pick a piece of music and throw it onto it. Captions on it. So what I'm finding, and this is only in the last couple of months, captions that are too long to read within 7 seconds, because they have to watch it again if they're going to read the rest of the caption.
Okay, yeah.
So the words on the screen. So too many words for it to be able to read it in 7 seconds. So if it's interesting enough, they will either hold it or they'll watch it again to read the rest of it. There are two things I've definitely seen that have worked for us on Instagram in particular. Facebook, I think, again, Reels are working really well on Facebook. We're getting really good traction, but I think they just work anyway. And shorts on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, get yourself on YouTube, because shorts on YouTube, we're getting, like, we post a short and we could get 5,000 views within a few hours on it. Like, they're really, really working well.
And the other thing, you know, the way you always say to me about think the question that the customer's going to have, the problem they have.
Yeah. So I suppose, back to being a florist, how do I make my flowers last longer? Or how do I stop my roses going over? Or a hairdresser, how do I stop my hair getting greasy? Or how do I make my nails grow faster? Think of those questions that your customers ask you on a daily basis. Get a notebook, and because I do have one, and I write them down. I write those questions.
It's actually very old-fashioned.
Yeah, I'm a pen and paper type of girl.
And I say it to my own clients, keep a list of those repetitive questions.
Yeah.
The questions
Because
that you're
people say,
answering, they're the ones people want the answers to.
Yeah. And they're the ones that you're sitting there saying, well, what am I going to make content on? I don't know what I'm going to write about. I don't know what video I'm going to do. That is your content. And just because you've done it once doesn't mean it's done. You can answer the same question with a different top on over and over and over again, because every time you post something, not everybody sees it. So don't be afraid of I don't believe in over posting. I think you can over post as often as you want.
Yeah, and that's definitely a tip, I would say. You listen to different social media, you know, experts, and they say post 3 times a day, once a week, twice a week. I say post as often as you can. Like at the end of the day, when I'm in bed and I wake up in the morning, I immediately go onto social media. Right. So
menopause.
And to my age group, okay, and a lot of the students that we would get would be from 35 upwards. Obviously, they'd be younger than me. But I'd say to them, like, your customers are, okay, I'm going to take menopausal women. And as a menopausal woman, you are awake at 2:30 in the morning. You're looking for you're thinking about where your birth cert is, okay? So post at 2:30 in the morning. I have scheduled posts that come up at 2:30, 1:30 and 3 a.m. in the morning on our Instagram and our social media pages right across the board. And they are for the menopausal women, perimenopausal women, or just women that are up thinking, where's my granny's birth cert, you know, at 2:30 in the morning. So that definitely works.
Yeah.
And of course, it also helps helps when you're trying to market yourselves across the globe, as you lovely ladies
Absolutely.
are as well.
So,
Well, Deirdre O'Sullivan and, of course, Jeanette O'Rourke of Kay's Flower School, thank you so much for joining us on Cut Through the Noise. What's the easiest way for listeners to find you?
Case
Email.
Flower School. Yeah, just we're Case Flower School across all our social platforms. Our website is Case Flower School and our email is info@caseflowerschool. So, and we have a free course. So if you are interested in flowers, we do have a free course, a taster course. So drop us an email and we'll send it out to you.
Thank you so much, and best wishes
thank
for
you,
the future.
Ashley.
Thank you for having
Thanks
us.
a million.
Ashley.
Thank
Really
you.
enjoyed
Really
it.
enjoyable. See you then.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Deirdre and Jeanette. They really are a force of nature, the two of them combined. And it's wonderful to see them online. And as they say, they're always so supportive of other business people, which is why I always love supporting them when I can. I hope you found the episode really useful and insightful, and that it's given you more confidence to really try and leverage your social media platforms, whichever one you choose to invest in, and really make it a valuable marketing asset for you and your brand. If I can be of any help, if you'd like to explore how I can help you connect with your audience and reach your target market, well, then you can connect with me. I'm on thecommunicationscoach.ie, or you can email me hello@thecommunicationscoach.ie, and all my social links are in the show notes below. Thank you for listening to us in what is a noisy world. And remember, you need to communicate with confidence, clarity, and authenticity to really resonate with your target market. And especially if you want you and your brand to stand out from the sea of sameness and cut through the noise.